Commercial beekeepers sell honey in bulk containers to honey packers for packaging, distribution and marketing, domestic and overseas markets. When the honey arrives at the factory, it's graded by colour as consumers prefer a lighter coloured honey. Therefore, lighter honey returns the beekeeper a higher price. Export honey is sold by colour and domestic honey is blended, often according to its colour. Honey packers also store honey according to floral variety to be sold as that type, or it can be used in a blend to give it a distinct flavour. When the honey is required, it's warmed so that it's easy to pour, and this heating also melts any candy crystals. The honey then passes through a cleaning process. The clean honey is pumped into large holding tanks. These tanks may contain floral variety honey or blended honey. In Australia, many species of flora only yield surplus honey every 3 or 4 years, therefore supplies are limited. Throughout the world, including Australia, it's common for honey packers to blend honey. Honey is blended according to its flavour, density and colour.
Australian honey is seen in a very good light. In fact, it's regarded really as the #1 product around the world. They say that our climatic conditions, our purity of air, the fact that we don't have residues, is at the forefront of the honey industry in the world.
When looking at the world market, the overseas countries are not as used to the eucalypt flavour that's so desired by Australian consumers. But when they actually have a chance to taste some of the wonders of Australian honeys, they find that their prejudices are more along the idea of that they think it's going to smell like a eucalyptus oil, and they find that the honey is quite suitable to their taste buds. But they are more into the ground flora types, so they find that honeys like Salvation Jane, Clover, Lucerne, St Barnaby's Thistle are all readily acceptable to their taste buds. Even canola, they're quite used to those honeys. So what we do when we're preparing blends for the premium markets overseas is we will combine those types of honeys with our quality eucalypts and present them with a unique honey which is very appealing to their taste buds.
We produce large amounts of Jarrah honey, red gum honey, Wandoo, Marri, to name but a few.
From the bulk tanks, the honey is pumped into the filling machines. These machines fill jars or plastic containers with the correct weight of honey. An inline capping machine places and then tightens the lids on the jars or containers. Tamper-proof sealing is then carried out. This assures the consumer that the container was not opened after leaving the factory. The source code and packing date are printed on the lid of each container. Labels are then affixed to each filled container. The jars or containers are then packed in cardboard cartons for distribution. Larger quantities of honey are placed directly into bulk containers. Honey is one of the most natural and tasty foods known to humans. Because of its high energy, honey is often used as a general pick-me-up. For thousands of years, people have used honey to soothe sore throats, treat rashes, stings, grazes and minor burns. Scientists now recognise that honey and hive products have natural antibiotic and antiseptic properties.
Honey is an interesting substance in that it can kill bacteria by a number of different means. There are 4 or 5 that we're aware of. The first one is that it kills bacteria simply by the presence of its sugar. It's called an osmotic or an osmolar effect, and the sugar at the concentration it's at, it's about 80 or 83% sugar. It can suck the water out of bacteria and so kill the bacteria. The second method that honey can kill bacteria is simply by the presence of acid in the honey. Honey has an interesting pH. It's about pH 3.2. It sometimes gets up to 4.5, but it's quite acidic, and a lot of bacteria can't handle acidic loads. So some honeys, all honeys, are capable of killing bacteria by pH. So all honeys kill bacteria by pH and sugar content, but there are at least 2 other characteristics of honey that kill bacteria, and they're more rare in honeys. The first one is the presence of hydrogen peroxide, and this peroxide is a the same thing that you bleach your hair with and that you sterilise benches with. It's made by an enzyme that the bees secrete into honey called glucose oxidase, and that enzyme breaks glucose down and produces some acid, but also produces peroxide. And when that peroxide comes in contact with bacteria, it kills them. And the final method that we're testing for in the studies that I'm doing is to look for the floral active honeys. Now these are active moieties that come from the flower. The bee collects the nectar, puts it into the honey, and there are factors in there that we're not fully aware of yet, or we don't understand completely, that are able to kill lots and lots of different types of bacteria. And we've come up with a group of beekeepers in northern New South Wales that have florally active honeys. These honeys usually come from what we call a jellybush tree, or it's a leptospermum tree, Leptospermum polygallifolium, we believe the species is.
There are various styles of honey sold. Liquid honey is natural honey straight from the honeycomb, which has been filtered to remove any foreign matter. It comes in many different colours and flavours, which are produced from different species. It's used as a spread in cakes and biscuits, lollies, breakfast cereal and bread. Creamed honey is made by a whipping process. Some candied honey is mixed with liquid honey and then whipped to form creamed honey. It's white in colour, thicker than liquid honey, but will stay spreadable if stored in a cupboard. Beekeepers sell combed honey in various forms, the most popular being combed sections.
Beekeeping's been in our family for a lot of years, and Mum, in her youth, produced section honeycomb, additional square sections in the boxes, and from that point on I become interested in it, started producing it and got more involved and more interested in it, and we went away from producing liquid honey because more satisfaction to the beekeeper, to me, to produce nice quality comb honey, and we've gone on from there. To eat combed honey is the natural product from the bee's hive.
Australian honey has a unique taste. This is because the nectar honeybees use comes from the hundreds of different plant species growing in Australia. Why not try the different floral types to find the ones you like?